we'll do it all again next week, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry about the early disruption with no video, but we got it sorted. So do it all again next week, 10:05. See you then.
All right. And then that.
Hey, who do we have here?
Crackles. And hear yourself.
I'm not sure, my man. The awakening is over and One Table Radio is about to start. So I don't know if you want to hold for him, but we're not sure.
Series of speaking games. We'll talk to you about.
I'm not sure, partner. I don't know. But maybe Kevin will know. Do you want to stay on hold or no?
Fit in there. So
Yeah.
do like.
My name's Rob.
It's like all positive and
Yeah.
we have no negative, no volunteer.
Kevin Allen.
Yeah.
Kevin Allen.
If you're interested,
He's the host on the next show.
Bring people to you.
Listen, I gotta bust out of here, partner. Do you want to stay on hold for the next show, or do you want to?
Renting the place, $500 in the net, and I can then promote one of their events. So as long as it goes along with their.
He's the show host, my man. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on hold. If you want to stay on hold. But I gotta go. I apologize. All right, this guy doesn't. Hopefully he'll drop off because he's not with it. But
Who's that? The one
I
that
know.
called for Stu Breyer that time?
Is
it that guy?
And he's asking what's going on with Shelly Martin.
Thank you.
What's going on? Like,
Live on the radio.
yeah, I don't know. So, all right. So listen,
Yeah.
something's going on with the board, or was going on with the board for me. I'm going to talk to John about it right now. But what was happening is the stops weren't working, and when it came back in out of break, it wasn't auto playing the bumper. So Tyler, if you got to you look over here, my man, you got to stop it, man. You don't want to stop because it jumps to the next thing. You want to click on this to pause it if something is playing out of tune, if something's playing out of order.
Comes in.
But hopefully he'll get it squared away.
Yeah.
So
Comes in, she brings in the local champion force. So we got the support guy coming in today.
Yeah, Jeff Playman.
Yeah, I can't wait. He's an interesting guy, right?
Oh, Jeff's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyways,
Smart guy. I think he's trying to get a park named after him.
he did?
No, I think he's trying.
Oh, he is.
I think he's trying to get, yeah.
He's a good.
He's a good guy. He does a lot of good for the community.
I'll stop by and catch up with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Oh, you're using the iPhone connector?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Not bad.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We'll see. That's wrong.
Sir? What's the time on there?
We have 3 minutes.
Cool. Cable radio. One cable radio. Lot.
Or are you selecting it to have the, are you selecting it to have the input as the audio? The audio should be an
We're
input.
gonna have to come over and do that for a second.
Gotcha.
Discovery comes as Rome faces a water crisis after prolonged dry periods. Keith Peters reporting.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission has announced a recall of some mini fridges that were sold on Amazon. The CPSC says about 250,000 Kululi mini fridges are being recalled. More of these stories can be found at townhall.com.
In the First Alert Forecast Center on Channel 3, I'm meteorologist Tyler Hughes. Plenty of sunshine around this afternoon, and we'll start to get rid of some of that wildfire smoke as well, making for a brighter sky. Can't rule out the chance of an isolated shower or storm to pop up late this afternoon through this evening, just with the heat of the day. Not all of us will see one, but if you do, you could see a quick downpour. So I want to give you the first alert to that. High temperatures this afternoon, very seasonable for this time of year in the low to mid 80s. Good news, tomorrow is the pick of the weekend. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the low 80s. Low humidity will make for a very comfortable feel. Not only that, low temperatures the next couple of nights in the upper 50s and low 60s. So you can open up those windows at night, give the air conditioning a break. Sunday, though, humidity returns, as does rain chances later in the day through early Monday morning. It looks like we'll see some showers that could be heavy at times. In the First Alert Forecast Center on Channel 3, I'm meteorologist Tyler Hughes. Getting ready to go live here. This is the One Diva Radio Show right here on WICH 1310 AM. I love the AM channel. I got to tell you, AM radio just brings back such nostalgic memories for me. So we're doing a little bit of a Facebook Live over here. So hello on Facebook if you're out there. Thank you for popping on here. I'm not even going to give you a bunch of excuses of where we are and what we're doing and all this stuff with technology. Look, we're doing the best we can in the situation we're in. Sometimes our Facebook Live doesn't come across clear. I'm terrible with buttons and pushing technology. Tyler's on the other side, actually, guys, over there doing the buttons on the phone and handling all the production piece of this great show that we put together here for you. And I'm doing the best I can talking. Well, I will say one thing. Let me ask you a question. I didn't even introduce you yet, Tyler. What are you doing just jumping in, man?
Hey, this is Tyler, the producer. A big thing now is like the touch screens on everything. You know what I mean? It's once you want to position something.
Do you touch a screen like this, or do you touch it like that?
Nobody can see your hand motions.
I'm asking you. I didn't care about whatever way to see me. I'm asking how you touch the screen.
I tap it.
Oh, you're
I tap
saying
it.
because older generation didn't watch us touch the screen. We jab it like it's almost jabbing an eyeball.
No. I'm a tapper, but I also swipe too. I have to sometimes use my thumbs, you know.
I'm a swiper.
I'm a swiper.
Swiping, no swiping.
It's just it's rough nowadays, you know. Like I kind of miss sometimes the manual buttons on things. Everything being a touchscreen sometimes can be very obnoxious.
It's true. And speaking of obnoxious, I'm here. So I'm the obnoxious guy. And listen, Tyler's a sweet guy, so I can't even pick on you. I can't even make fun of you. You're too nice of a guy. So today we're going to have on some really cool guests. Two of the guests today from the chamber. And I'll wait for Angela to come in. Of course, I already said to Tyler, who's moving my cord around here. I don't know why that's happening, but there you go. We gotta spell things out for me because I mess words, names up sometimes, you know. So that being said, we're still having a good time. Tyler's trying to get the camera situated, so we're live right there with the camera on One Table Radio. We're live on my regular platform as well. And Angela's going to be bringing in one of the chamber members, as she usually does, which is the chamber chatter. And a local entrepreneur who owns a skateboard shop. That's going to be an interesting conversation. I know about this. I've never actually had a conversation with this gentleman, so we look forward to talk to him. And then later on, the last hour, 45 minutes of the last hour, we'll be talking with someone who I've became friends with on social media. Her story is a sad story of her husband, who was a law enforcement officer, who ended up taking his own life. And something I'm very passionate about is trying to help people with mental health. And those people that suffered from loved ones actually, committing suicide and dying, overdose, all these things that happen. There's so much that goes on. And so we're going to talk to Rachel today when she comes in to the studio and talk a little bit about her story, share her inspiration, which is, surviving from such an amazing, tragic situation. So those are the stories today and your calls. And so 860-889-5252, you can call in. I don't know if we have a caller on there or not. No, perfect. Okay, so listen, callers, just so you know, this is a different show. The show before us with Rob, I know that Rob and Justin were just on, and they talk a lot about the local energy and what's going on in the community, and it's an amazing resource for so many people. I think it's great. But, if you're calling to this show, One Table Radio, just listen to the name of this radio show. Just start with that. If you understand, right, I'm talking to the listeners out there who listen to Stu Breyer. Think about how Stu Breyer, Stu's an amazing example, and what a steward, no pun intended, what a steward to good humanity. Stu doesn't want to talk about all the negative stuff in the world. We don't either. We don't want to talk about I don't want to know about the burning down of the building. I know it's happening. I know it's real. I know what's going on. And I'm sure you have some passion about that. We want to talk about positive stuff. Okay? As simple as that. And I'm sorry if that upsets somebody. Oh, I want to be heard. Well, you can be heard. There's lots of resources to be heard out there. But if you're calling in the show, try to bring something positive. I'm never going to cut you off, but at the same time, I'm going to ask you to please just be positive in this environment. Tyler, you agree, right? I mean, come on. Absolutely. It's negative.
There's so much negative nowadays. It's
Everything in the world is negative.
absolutely go to any news channel ever right now.
Right.
I don't know.
Show me if I could turn on a news channel that is not biased. If I could turn on a news media channel that's not biased, a news media channel that offers some kind of inspiration, and not a media channel that offers this like the sky is falling, I will watch that and support that all day long. I can't find it. I don't think it's existing out there. I mean, do you know of any news channels that like offer all those things?
No.
And they're really not that difficult, right? They're pretty simple.
No, I feel like most news channels, they might have a segment or two of like fluff pieces, but
Fluff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all it's trickled not only from the news media world into sports, entertainment, the world, right? Our entire worlds are so overwhelmed with those debates and conversations. I mean, we can get in WNBA right now. Like the WNBA right now, in my opinion, is the WWE professional basketball league. That's what it is. They're trying to really put out this image of this they're getting so much attention and they're getting their clicks, right? They're getting their clicks, but they're getting their clicks for the wrong reason. Not for the quality of basketball talent. They're getting the clicks for the social issues that divide the league. That to me is pathetic. Okay? Sorry, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry, and I already talked about not getting angry, being positive. And I go right into it. See, just a little bit of talking, Tyler, what it can do to you, right? You got to change the game. Yeah, let's turn it around right now. I don't want to talk about it. So, on a positive note, in the great city of Norwich, there's so many great activities. We're going to hear from Angela about all the fun things that are going on in the city and beyond in all the different communities. I mean, just last week she was in here, the lineup of all the events that were going on between Preston and Tyler's pulling up, I think, the list. Maybe chime in anytime, Tyler, you want to chime in. If you got a long list of things that are going on. But also think, Preston had their carnival last week, and the Boswell Farmers Market. We usually are out there. When we get invited, we do the Uncle pop-up NA bar out there. And so lots of great things to do, and this is a time of year, guys, when you don't want to miss a moment. So I'd have to say today is a pretty nice day, right? Would you say today's weather's pretty nice? I mean, today was beautiful. It was nice and cool this morning, too, so not too hot. Yep. It was a good beginning to a summer day. And we're in the dog day of summer right now, in a sense. You've got the last 30 days of enjoying summer. The kids will be back in school in the fall. Mom and dad will be back to the routine they do, or whoever it is. And we're all back to getting ready to shovel again. So let's enjoy the moment and the activities. So throughout southeastern Connecticut, guys, one thing I love to do as I drive around a lot, as I talk about, and one of the things I love to do is I love to see all the activities that are going on. And I want to talk a little bit about Mystic, Connecticut. Okay? I know we're in Norwich. I know we're in the heart of, we're right here in the Rose City, and it's an amazing community, and I am 100% invested in this community. But in southeastern Connecticut, which is including Mystic, Connecticut, I got to say that I am so impressed on what Mystic, Connecticut has done in a short amount of time. And I'm going to give a shout out. I don't think he's listening to the show, but Bruce Flax, who used to formerly work over at Mashantucket, he's involved with some of the entertainment
division over there, took over the president chamber. The position is the president chamber of the Mystic area. I think it's a downtown Mystic chamber, and they have done they had an art festival last week. I'm not even kidding you. You couldn't get within 4 miles, 5 miles of Mystic. And I know they have a parking problem down there, but the point is, it's not about the problems. It's about people coming to the community, and they're not coming from just they're not coming from Old Saybrook over to Mystic only. You're talking about people coming internationally. I've met people, every different language, every different culture that are coming to Mystic, Connecticut. And I think that's a great thing for New London County. And we always knew Mystic was kind of, the fancy smancy of southeastern Connecticut. But it now has become a tourist destination. And I'd love to know your thoughts on that, guys. If you're listening, 860-889-5252. Maybe we could see that spill over right here into the city of Norwich. I see hope and promise, especially when you include what's going on over at the marina. We talked to the owners of the marina. Obviously, they're putting their time and their money where their mouth is, investing. And you see so many promises, with these guys bringing down there. And then the city, there's been a lot of talk about a new roundabout going into the downtown area. And I just look at how Mystic is flowing. They haven't really improved the traffic, flow, but they're doing it, and so we can do it here in the city of Norwich as well. So I think there's a lot of hope for New London County, and I don't want to leave New London off either, because I think New London also spent a lot of time down there, and a lot of this comes from we've been at no secret. I'll talk about it publicly. Uncle Earl's, my non-alcohol beverage company. We're citing a location in southeastern Connecticut for our flagship location that we'll be putting our keystone location where we'll actually be, doing retail sales and some other stuff out of. And so we've looked at properties in almost every town, and I think every town offers something amazing. But what town that's going to be will be soon decided, right? We'll have to decide that soon. But yeah, southeastern Connecticut has so much hope, I think. And Tyler, when you get around and you're traveling, you're in Groton area mostly, right? When you're traveling around, but you didn't live in this area your whole life. So what's your opinion of southeastern Connecticut? What's your feelings on it? Oh, I really like it down here. My big thing is the sidewalks, the amount of light, and transportation. As somebody who, I have a car now, but I still don't like to drive. I prefer taking the Shoe Leather Express or the bus, personally. And there's so much public transportation. It's a Shoe Leather Express for those who don't understand. That is just my feet. My feet. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Your feet like shoe leather, or are they actually? I see you with nice, tough feet. Oh no, I have really soft toes. I always wear shoes. I always wear proper shoes. I walk through my shoes. There's never been a pair of shoes this is true. You know why I know it's true? I bought a pair of shoes recently. I did it because we did so much work. I'm working and we were going to Boston, right? And your shoes you had on, they literally did walk through them. Yeah. I walk the toes out of the top, or I walk the bottoms just straight to those holes. You're like Forrest Gump, just moving. You don't stop till you fall off. Yeah, what's that? I'm thinking that he needs to get some Vans and a skateboard from Jeff Blayman. Oh, see, instead of that whole bootleg, what did you call it? Bootleg Shoe Leather Express. Yeah, I was confused too, but that's a good one. Yeah, maybe we can all get a pair of Vans and go skateboarding later on today. Oof, you don't want to see me skateboard? No, maybe not. Maybe I do. I do want to see that. Angela Adams in the room, guys. If you don't recognize the voice, that is the voice known as Angela Adams, a powerhouse in the great city of Norwich. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Happy Friday. I am so happy it's Friday. We got another event tonight, but we the whole week just topped off with Tuesday night a Young Professionals little networking thing. So of course I have to be there to help because Anna's kind of kicking that off, and I was there to support her. And then we had the Dime Bank ribbon cutting for the new corporate office, which was pretty cool on Tuesday. And then that was Wednesday. And then Wednesday night we had to rock the docks. And then last night we had our business after hours at Supercharged. So of course we're going to stay there late because everybody's racing. Rob Janovic did beat Craig. He came in second, but then Craig came in second again for the second one. But Anna, who's in our office, her boyfriend beat Craig, but they both beat Rob Janovic's first score in the other game. So I think they kind of beat Rob. Another match then. Yeah. So that was fun. Busy. And then
of course, I had to kick off our health and wellness committee meeting because we're talking about a healthy living festival.
Right.
So that was at 8 o'clock this morning. Now we're here with Jeff Blayman.
What are you sleeping?
And then we have our back to backs tonight because the weather is, weather is looking like it's gonna hold out for us. So I was a little worried. It was like 50-something%. Now it's down to like, it's going down. And Craig, who's my weather guy, says, hey, we're good to go. So it was definitely a busy week. How was your week?
My week was spectacular.
Yeah?
I was actually in Boston yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to be working out of Boston moving forward 1 day a week, which is exciting. I do want to say that the streets up there, how much time? Wait, just any time?
Anytime.
You give me a signal and just say, I'm midstream answering you. We gotta come up with you need a horn or something. I can't do a horn. All right. Instead of getting into that long-winded conversation, let's go to the break right here, WICH One Table Radio. We're going to come back with Angela Adams and your guests again. Right. Jeff, I've been wanting to talk to you for years, dude. I know you. I even kind of put skateboard sneakers on so I can talk to you for you. All right, my brother. All right, back in a moment right here. One Table Radio, WICH.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We've been around.
Now at the floor covering shop, there's even more miles and miles of carpet and tile. There's a lot more product on display to make your dream project a reality. Just stop into our 10,000 square foot showroom or visit us online at floorcoveringshopinc.com. Come see the Grab family on Central Avenue in Norwich. Browse our huge inventory and get the right floor at the right price.
If your business isn't getting noticed, Prokop Sign Company can change that. Family owned since 1964, Prokop has over 60 years of experience helping local businesses stand out. From eye-catching signs and banners to trade show displays and branding tents, they do it all. Want advertising that never stops? Their custom vehicle lettering and wraps turn your ride into a mobile billboard. Plus, Prokop offers promotional products and printed materials like business cards, brochures, and more to keep your brand looking sharp. Check them out at prokopsigns.com. Brochures and more to keep your brand.
All right, welcome back right here. That's a fast break. And unlike basketball, which I don't play, the fast break comes back. Tyler, you're doing a good job getting us all. Well,
I concur.
He's good at what he does. And what he does, we still don't know yet, but he's good at what he does. I mean, each week he comes in here, he's great. Angela, you did bring in a guest. And so it's just to set up the guest. So, first of all, I screw names up all the time. It's who I am. I'm whatever, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But Jeff, I know you in your business, right?
Yep.
And you've been in the city of Norwich now for how long have you been here in Norwich?
So I grew up in Preston, just over the line, and went to school at St. Bernard's. But I opened my business in and around the year 2003. And then I've been operating the skateboard shop, the Ideal Skate Shop on Central Avenue since then. So
you're in the skateboard industry. You're 50 years old. We just talked about.
Yeah.
Angela, would you and I be able to get on a skateboard when you're 50 someday? Would you be on a skateboard?
Yes, someday. Maybe someday.
even I'm on on the other side of the bell curve, though. I mean, all my days of in the sun are over. At this point, I'm just trying to hang on to the skateboard tricks I used to be able to do.
No, somebody made a comment yesterday when we were talking about skateboards, and they were saying something about how crazy. I don't know who it was though. Was it Rob last week? I can't remember who it was. I was trying to think of it, and they're like, yeah, it was you and somebody else. You guys used to go on, and he said like we were crazy, like crazy on the skateboards, doing tricks and stuff like that back then. That you probably can do them, but
I mean, to some degree in New England, like I was definitely known. I was a mini ramp skater, so I like to ride transition, like ramps you see on TV. And there was always a handful of people throughout the region that were obviously like more proficient. I was fortunate. My dad, when he built the house in Preston, there was a barn behind it that he built, and it was supposed to be for cars that he was going to collect, but then he didn't end up doing it. And I ended up putting ramps in there, and he, God bless him, let me build ramps. And then what he told me later in life was, I always knew where you were. You and your friends were always out back in those ramps. But he basically gave me a training facility, which in essence led to everything else that happened in my life. Because otherwise I would have skated in a driveway, had to go downtown to skate once in a while. But I literally could walk out back every single day and work on it. And people from all over New England on rainy days all came to my house.
You know, it's funny. I've known you for years. So you're somewhat of a local, well-known celebrity. Maybe not just for your skating, sort of success, but the way you dress. Bless you there, Tyler. It's live radio. We do things here. It's okay. We sneeze. But you dress really fancy. I mean, is that okay to say? Yeah, sure. And so being eccentric, is that okay to say? Sure. Because I feel I'm eccentric at times too. Angel, chime in anytime.
I'm not
We'll get to you later. And so what I'm saying is that you're kind of coming from Preston to get into that space is really wild. Like, because you have national relationships, and we'll talk about it, and you're really well known. I mean, I talked to the Hive and those guys down there and all that stuff, Charlie. So you know everybody in the industry pretty much at this point after all these years.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure and honestly the honor of meeting and being in so many rooms with so many people, even from like Tony Hawk to, I don't know, Bob Burnquist to people in Panama Dan, people who wouldn't maybe know, but like I've been around the block and it's been really wonderful to have those experiences. So,
that's amazing.
I'm very fortunate.
I've always been intrigued by your story because in the city of Knowledge, like skateboarding wasn't really, you didn't see it. It wasn't as prevalent.
Yeah.
I think, but you just see it in the parks and those little pockets. And in fact, I think back in our day, right, growing up, I'm 56, skateboarding was still kind of cool, but it wasn't cool. So the kids that were really cool doing it, they became like MTV. That whole thing kind of like blew it up.
It was a counterculture, and much like if you think rock and roll to the parents in the 50s was like, wow, how can you listen to that? Skateboarding was, why would you want to skateboard? But truthfully, the only reason it had a bad moniker was because there was so many people in movies. If you needed a bully, you gave them a skateboard and a leather jacket and stole your lunch money.
Exactly.
My dad said the first time he saw skateboarding in a positive light was in the movie Back to the Future, where Michael J. Fox was a good kid.
Yeah.
And that gave him a different perspective on skateboarding because it was what the industry and the movies and television had fed you. It was always the bad kid.
Right.
So to be quite honest, I missed that though. I missed when we were like outlaws and had to run from the police. They weren't going to give you your skateboard back if they took it in the old days. Now they'll be like, Billy, get off the sidewalk.
Right.
But in the old days, they take your skateboard and that was the last time you saw it. I missed that. There was something really interesting, like motorcycle culture too. You saw a guy on a motorcycle, you were like, that guy is part of a subculture.
Yeah.
These days, everybody can buy a $20,000 Harley Davidson and be part of the culture.
Right.
Skateboarding's the same way. It's in Burger King commercials. It's in Kohl's ads. It's really become something that it's been beneficial to my business because everyone wants to buy vans.
Right.
But I'm still more or less a skate shop that's true to the nature and core of skateboarding, where it's a headquarters. I don't care if you buy anything. Stop in. We'll talk about the local parks that got built. We're going to talk about some industry stuff. There's probably a video on TV. I do stickers and T-shirts with local artists. Take some. They're free. Take them. But the idea is people check in, whereas a store, you got to go buy something. So I like that we're kind of maintaining a little piece of history.
I like that. And, with all the businesses you deal with, this is one of the more interesting, more culturally connected businesses. And it's kind of, you're still outside the line of what normal businesses
businesses do, because you kind of have a fun job, actually, and I'm kind of envious that you get to see it in your store and do the thing you love to do, and you're doing it in a way, by the way, anyone that's listening out here in this knowledge area, I'm not picking on any area, but you're in Greenville.
Correct.
And you survived and built your career in Greenville, Connecticut. I want people to listen to what I'm saying. If you're listening, you built a really successful career in that store.
Yes.
So it can happen anywhere.
Destination locations survive anywhere, and that's one of the reasons I haven't moved to downtown. I own the building, and for me, people come to me from everywhere. I always like to say, where are you from? And they'll say, I'm from Lincoln, Rhode Island, or I'm from Bridgeport or Stamford. And therein, I know that they're making this trip because I have exclusive also product. One of the things Vans, I give them a lot of credit. They've always been very good to core accounts. Surf shops and skate shops especially get different product catalogs. So the things you can find within my store, you can't go on a Vans website and buy. You can't go to a mall or a Kohl's. That's like their less expensive, let's just say it's not built with any technology, whereas pro skate shoes are equipment. But that's why every nurse buys them from me, every casino worker, every bartender, anyone who's on their feet all day long buys their shoes from me. So my store has become more of a shoe store than a skate shop, but at its core, it's still a skate shop.
Interesting. I mean, you find that in your lane, you find a way to survive the industry itself. So, Angela, what was your thoughts about bringing this business particularly? I mean, obviously, other than being an interesting success story.
No, it's I bring them in because they're interesting. It's where the back to school's coming up, right? So that's one of the things I want to start promoting is back to school, and of course that's what he just said. It's the teachers are going to be on their feet. He sells to all the different ages and stuff like that. So I wanted to get that word out there. If you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, I always find that I love that. Healthcare worker. We have a lot of members within our businesses, and I want them to know. And we connect with our community as well. So, he's amazing. So I said, this is the perfect timing. Right now is to kind of get him on the air.
I love it. No, it's awesome. And each week you bring in the new business or service provider. We've talked to all the different ones. And so, why Norwich? Why did you choose Norwich in the beginning? That's the question I'd like to start off with.
So basically, I grew up in Preston. I knew Norwich very well. My dad owned a bunch of buildings in Norwich, and I always said I kind of got a love for Norwich through his eyes because I was always the maintenance boy. I was mowing the lawn in front of a little building or whitewashing the back of it or putting in a drop ceiling or if we pulled up to one of his buildings for something, I was picking up the trash out front. So there was a certain sense of ownership that I was blessed with at an early age where I just loved Norwich and I loved these little pockets because a lot of the buildings he had were in Greenville and Tassville. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was in like a nicer side of Norwich, so to speak. And therein, I started a skateboard park franchise with a friend. I used to be a freelance videographer. I used to film professional skateboarders for a living.
Okay.
And that eventually led me to Newport, Rhode Island and Boston a lot. And a gentleman that I became very close with decided to leave the skateboard park he was running and start a franchise with some investors. That took me to Massachusetts, where I was for about 3 or 4 years. While I was there, I said, we have 5,000 kids coming through 3 doors. I should probably start a brand. Just like, just a kid with an idea. Mm-hmm. And because of that, Worship Skateboard starts. I do a new artist every 6 months. So it's not like me crafting a vision of an identity and trying to maintain it. What do you do? And where did you stay up till 4 a.m? You couldn't sleep until you finish that piece of art. That belongs on a yoga mat, a t-shirt, a skateboard, or anything, because you put your soul into it. And basically, by working with a new artist every 6 months I work with some super talented person that I meet by accident, because I like to say the universe will provide, and then that person introduces me to their entire fan base. And every 6 months, I meet someone else's fan base, and my company grows through that every time I do it. And when I came back to Norwich after, unfortunately, the skateboard park franchise, we opened 3 locations before internal strife destroyed it, as some things happened. People got greedy within it, and it just got weird. So I was able to walk away with a national brand, though. At that point, I was still selling to like 5 states, maybe 15 skate shops. I came home, and basically this building in Greenville was available. I was able to buy it for about $20,000, and therein I've had a home ever since. But in the beginning, it was me and a fax machine and a telephone and a list calling every skate shop in the country. I didn't want to be a skate shop. I was trying to be a national brand, sell 1 million units. But what happened was I had kids buying boards off me out of the trunk of my car at skateboard parks. I'd be in the supermarket about to go inside, and some kid would be like, "Hey, Jeff, can I get a board?" And I'm like, "Sure." So inevitably, but I was like a drug deal. It was terrible. So I ended up talking to the local bicycle shop, and I said, "Hey, guys, I'd love to send you my stuff. There's probably 15, 20 kids in the city that are buying from me. I'd love them to send them to you." They said no.
And then it was like 30 kids a month, and I was like, they still said no. I offered to consign them. They said no. So I was like, you know what? Out of spite, if you ever saw the Larry David show when he opens Larry's Lattes, it was like the spite coffee shop.
Of course.
So I opened the store being like, never mind you guys, I'll just open it myself.
Right.
But what I learned was it wasn't rejection, it was redirection.
100%.
Because them not allowing me to sell my stuff in their store made me open my own. And now, 23 years later, we've done coat drives for the homeless. We've done SOS, Success on Skateboard, autism-based skate lessons. We've gotten 6 public skate parks built in the local community and 100 other projects that would have never happened if they had just said yes.
Amazing. You shook an industry that would be probably not thought of as being such a community partner, and you built it into something very unique here. And I love the fact that you had entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur, and Angela knows, I'm in the middle of in launching a project, and I'm a lifelong serial entrepreneur. So I see that in you, but I also see you got to a point where you're content and happy. And you kind of got to that point where you're like, I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep doing this. The system works. And I see that must be your success is the system works.
Also, too, it's the advice I give every kid. So I've been very fortunate to work with the Bully Busters in town and Debbie Kievitz, and she'll have me come in and talk to the kids about wellness and follow your dreams. And I like to use myself as an example, but not necessarily as a roadmap. Like, this is just, I'm a kid who loves skateboarding, and every time opportunity came to me, I would say yes to it. Because even if you're going to work for free or it seems like it's too far to drive, just go. Just why not do it? Because you're going to sit home and nothing's going to change. But if you go there, you're going to meet one person, and suddenly your life is going to be so different because of that interaction. And I can honestly tell you, I'll give you one quick story. I'll make it fast, but it's a butterfly moment where I went to California because of a girlfriend at the time wanted to go. I booked us tickets. We flew out within days. We stayed with a friend out on La Brea, and there was a skate shop on Melrose called Atomic Garage. And when we were in town, we walked back to the skate shop, and as we walked in, a guy walking out goes, "Hey, are you Scott's friends from Connecticut?" And I was like, "Yeah, is he inside?" The guy goes, "No, we don't even know where the apartment is. Like, we don't know anything. We just flew out." So I'm basically like, we're like a fish out of water. He goes, "Why don't you come with me for the day? We'll stop back here later. They're bound to be back later." That guy introduced me to people that own Soltech, which is Etnies, ESE America, Nixon Watches, 32 Snowboard Boots, like one of the big umbrella companies that owns everything in the industry. He introduced me to them, and I became a freelance videographer for the New Horizon project on the East Coast, which led me to Newport and Boston, which led me to meeting the guy that I started the skateboard park franchise with. It leads to me starting the brand, which leads to me opening the store. But I was walking into the store as he was walking out. Had I tied my shoe before that, I would have missed him. Had he decided not to introduce himself, I would have missed him. None of this happens if it isn't for that one conversation for 5 seconds on a sidewalk in LA.
Amazing.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, time is everything, and just, so Angela, when you have, I know we talk about all the time, you have so many different businesses. I don't think this category is heavily represented probably in the chamber, right? This is one of the few in this space, meaning skateboarding or that kind of,
yes.
So that's an interesting, in that fact alone. So how do you see this being played into the future of the plans of Knowledge? I mean, are we going to build a,
Jeff's already a staple in the book.
Well, I know that, but I mean, it's going to be bigger plans, right?
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, he's very involved with the city. He's very involved with the businesses within the city and the people within our community. So his voice is already heard, and he continues to do that. I mean, he opened up, how many years now, the disc golf. I mean, he was involved with disc golf. I mean, he has that connection with that, like I had mentioned with everybody, that he hears and he listens and he comes up with, similar to you and maybe me, is trying to come up with ideas that can, I'm just a collaborator. I just pull people together. He does too. He's on our board. He's been on our board, 2019 or something, right?
My third term.
Yeah, and that's three-year terms. And, we were joking about how we met originally. I was literally, I just started the chamber. I didn't know that your business started in 2003. The chamber started in 2004. Of course, I didn't know you yet, and I started in 2012. And he just happened to be walking by and downtown, and we didn't have a window in. It was not there, and you literally stepped through it. And you're like, "Who are you?" And I'm just like, "Well, I'm Angela." Nobody knew me at the time. Nobody knew, it's so all these paths crossed and everything. So Jeff is never going to stop trying to figure out what the next best thing is for our the students in the area. Like I said, he's very connected. I was going to bring up the Bully Busters. We already did. The Norwich Youth and Family Services, we had them on here. He's very involved with them. So we're going to continue to keep making those connections and figure out what we can do. You just, how much time do we have to go away until break?
We'll go on the break when it is.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe you can tell a little bit about the disc golf and how that, why it materialized. But you also recently just
Skate park.
the skate park, yeah. And
When we do that, we'll come back. We'll go right into that. We'll go right into the skate park, the disc golf, and all the other dreams and economic development. I love it. After the break. And we will switch up.
and art. So, that's the fun fact about him as well. We have one of his skateboards in our chamber, and in multiple ones that he's had an artist, and I don't know if you did it directly with the artist or he's had artists decorate. We can talk a little bit more about that, but the skate world is literally also an art industry, and he's hung other people's art as well as the skateboards and different things on it, so he incorporates that. So we're going to go right in because Tyler's giving us the
Tyler, that's the move right there. Music, and we'll shut up. Back in a moment, one to the radio, WICH.
Frustrated with our company's cleaning service. They're not living up to their promises, and it's really starting to bug me.
That's why I use SureBright Commercial Cleaning Services. I know it's done right every time. Out of sight, out of mind.
I'm Chris Heller, co-owner of SureBright. It all comes down to customer service. We know that our customers, like Hall Communications, trust us with their facility as well as their image. And we appreciate just how important superior maintenance is to our customers, their customers, and the employees. That's why with SureBright, we get only the best in service and quality. Being a family-owned, independent company, customers know that they can always call either Chris or Patsy Heller with any questions or concerns. SureBright Commercial Cleaning Service, a division of SureBright Enterprises Incorporated.
Out of sight, out of mind works for me. I'm going with SureBright Commercial Cleaning Services.
Great choice. SureBright Commercial Cleaning Services. Done right every day. Out of sight, out of mind. Serving Connecticut. Call 860-887-9785. Or visit SureBrightInc.com.
This summer, history meets high fashion in Mystic. Mystic Museum of Art presents Lux, Connecticut, Velvet Mills to Modern Runways, a one-of-a-kind exhibition exploring Connecticut's textile history, from historic velvet mills to today's fashion designers. See stunning beadwork, quilts, embroidery, velvet fashions, and designs by Christian Siriano, Peter Somm, Maria Lockhart, and Toriana Sorrow. On view June 26th to October 11th. Come experience the stories stitched into every snub. Learn more at mysticmuseumofart.org. Are you a skilled field or shop carpenter looking for your next opportunity? Join the trusted team at Yankee Remodeler, a full-service residential and commercial contractor that's been building quality since 1971.
This is Pete from Yankee Remodeler. I've been part of the team for over 31 years, and I can tell you, it's a great place to grow your career.
We offer competitive wages, great benefits, and a supportive work environment. Check them out, YankeeRemodeler.com. You'll be glad you did. Hey everyone, Samantha here with R&W Heating Energy Solutions. Thinking about new equipment? Whether you're looking to heat or cool your home, we've got you covered. With high-efficiency boilers, furnaces, and oil tanks, heat pumps, Fujitsu ductless split heat pumps, and central air conditioning, R&W has the technology to keep you and your home comfortable year-round. Give our pros at R&W Heating Energy Solutions a call to schedule your free estimate at 860-848-9993.
Right. That's it. Right?
That's amazing. So we're back here live right here. The red light's the indicator, guys, just so you see the red light. You know what's going on. It's behind you, Angela.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so Tyler slipped it right on us. I see what he's doing. I see little eyes, beady eyes over there, just kind of getting smirky.
Getting
Turkey.
too fast
Like
for it.
turkey. So we're back, and we were just talking off the air just about a couple of things, technology. You might have heard us talking a little bit about this. And here we go playing it again. It's okay. We had that problem in the earlier show. So you might have to click that off. There you go. We're okay. We're going to survive any challenges. We'll survive from. Not a big deal. We're not going to get worked up over
The
it.
worst it is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We're happy if that's the worst it is. So let's get. So Jeff, your story though is interesting. It says that you grew up in a. So people understand. People that might be listening outside of this area, Preston's very much a farm town. Okay, so you're sort of you didn't have a vision of you getting into this industry. It sounded like when you just explained it, you kind of stumbled forward into that in a way of kind of falling into these opportunities along the way.
Yeah, I've always just said yes to opportunity, and I think that's a lesson you learn the hard way. I've always said life is a river. You can only get out and sit on the bank for so long, but you got to get back in and see where it takes you. People get comfortable and they stop progressing. And like the one thing I've always said is even when things fail, at least if you're trying, you're going someplace new. And that mantra has helped me throughout my life. Two things I started for businesses. I started Norwich Uniform and Tactical Supply, making uniforms for different agencies and groups, and also doing like supply when groups need large amounts of t-shirts for something or a function. So that's a second business that I stumbled into kind of by accident, and it's doing well, and it's a lot of fun. If anyone ever needs any of that stuff, we do it. And then I did Ideal Disc Golf Design. So basically, to take one step back, a friend named Josh Perry came through, and basically he was asking for support to build the Mohegan Park disc golf course. And so we donated $500, but I gave him a list and I said, basically, like, here's some of the other businesses in town. They're always successful. They're always happy to help. You should go knock on these doors too. That might help you find the money quicker to do this project. And then they got the money they needed. Beryl Fishbone was part of that board as well. Kyle Seitz, one of the fire department men, was on that board as well. And they fought with city council and they lobbied to get this opportunity. And then there was a nice guy named Greg that came in and built the course. They built originally 9 holes. And so there's an app called UDisc, and people check in on it when they're going to go play a disc golf course, and it shows you where all the disc golf courses are. But more importantly, it records who shows up, where they're from. It gives you analytics. So what we were able to do is, since we're the administrators on it, we could see, oh my God, there was 25 people from Massachusetts, there's 60 people from Rhode Island, 100 people from the local area played, there was one guy from Italy. And you're like, oh my God, this is a destination. So at the time, I was working a lot with Peter Nystrom, the former mayor of Norwich, and I said, listen, you may not know this, you think Frisbees and who's doing this, like it doesn't matter, but I'm watching it become an economic driver for the city as I sell some discs in my store. A little bit of a toolbox. If you needed some discs, I have some. I'm not the craziest inventory. But therein, I was like, you should really make it 18 because 9's a joke. And if you make it 18, why don't you make it 36? Put 2 tee pads or 2 baskets, and then you got an intermediate and an advanced course on the same layout. And so they got the money together, and Department of Public Works helped with Patrick McLaughlin at the time, and now it's Brian Long. And they were able to get this 36 holes done. Now, we've held the Ideal Open, which is kind of an invitation at the beginning of the year for the last 4 years. And there was people from Vermont and Maryland. There was a guy from Canada. I mean, this is really something. So now those analytics show thousands of people, and that is one of the best reasons to come to Norwich. I would say, like, there's a lot of restaurants are nice. We love good restaurants, and there's shopping. A lot of people do it online, but you can't play disc golf online. They're going to drive to Norwich because they've heard it's amazing. And that follows suit with another story that I fought for years to raise money for the Norwich Skate Park. A lot of towns have them. Some areas are more congested with skate parks than others, but let's say 1 in every 20 towns or less. And the Norwich Skate Park was a labor of love by the kids in Norwich and Donald Alfiero back in like 1998. And so this park goes up with a fence around it. You had to check in. You had to get a pass. I mean, it felt like a dog kennel, to be quite honest. And so there wasn't nothing free and exciting about it. And then over time, I came back to Norwich with my skateboard company, and I decided to work with the city, and I asked Lou DePina if I could help. And he's passed on, he's wonderful. But he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Because it's a put your money where your mouth is. Everyone wants to help, and then no one does. Mm-hmm. So I started to raise money and do summer camps where we give 100% of the money to the city and all this stuff. We raised about $38,000 and made 3 major differences to the skate park, 3 different pours. But because of that, I could walk in his office and he's like, Jeff, what do you want to do now? And but when he passed away, that stopped. There was a lot of interim park and rec directors. People came and went every 2 years. I was always building a new relationship. Well, on to the current day, the skate park had become dilapidated with time. But again, like the disc golf course, to someone who doesn't use it, you don't know any better. You wouldn't know if it's good or bad. The skate park, no one knew if it was good or bad. It was just a skate park on the hill. But there are a million basketball courts. There's tons of football fields and baseball fields. But skate parks are singular and unique because none of them are the same. So each one has a personality, a different energy and flow, a different layout. So people will gravitate to the one they like the best. Well, for a long time, moms and dads with disposable income were driving to Groton with their kids. And when they drop their kid off, what do? Might as well take care of some errands. They go shopping and maybe they get a pizza for after, and maybe they get all their work done and they spent all their disposable income in that town. Then they drove back to Norwich with their kid. They don't spend any money here, but it's because our skate park was terrible. And now, after working with Mayor Swanjit, we ended up getting the money, organizing. I was able to help pick the designers, and we just blacktopped the parking lot. We're putting lights in. We have a flagship quality destination location skate park finally back in Norwich after all these years. I mean, like I said, I came back to Norwich in 02, 03, and it was terrible. And now it's amazing. There's so many people there every day utilizing it, and it's so good to see because that's a benefit to Norwich. Having hundreds and hundreds of people come to Mahan Drive and then hopefully filter into the city to see all the wonderful businesses that we have. I've been blessed to work with Angela now for going into my third term, so maybe 7 or 8 years of something close to them.
9, there's 3 3-year terms.
So I'm somewhere in there.
It's 9, and then I worked with you before you even became a board member.
And so we've had the pleasure of like watching Norwich grow together. And Angela is one of the main reasons that we have so many members. I mean, we're basically at 500 members for the
600.
See, I'm not even paying attention anymore. We're growing so fast.
That's 600. We're getting old, Jeff. You know, it's just, I get it. I'm watching your mind work like mine.
I was around 500, so like closer to 600.
So you really speak on something which is interesting in the sport. Is that it's a quote, we'll call it sport, right? And so in the sport, but the business side, the economic driver, which I love hearing. You know, I used to sit in a position where we listen to these proposals. How can this help your community? And to me, most communities are looking for opportunities to get their kids off the street, get families, because it's not just kids, right? You have adults, young adults, like yourself, that you're going to go occasionally to the park, right?
I do all the time.
So that economic driver, to your point, really brings. And by the way, economic drivers sometimes are things that can decrease crime and negative activity.
Yes.
It also can translate, and so you're putting positive into these communities. I think it's a great thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say too, when those people come to spend their disposable income in Norwich because they have reasons to come here, we were putting together a park plan, the mayor and I, and the idea of this master park plan was in areas like the Washington Street empty space, and on my street where the idea came from when I wrote it up originally was that there's this really great little park on Central Avenue, and it has a basketball court, it has like a cupola and a jungle gym. But I said, if you look at it, it's an outdoor community center. Whenever we have a function in Greenville, we have it there. I was like, why can't we have these all over town? It costs a lot less than building a new community center that closes at 10 p.m., that you got the staff, that has utilities and expenses and taxes, that's, you know, we all can't fit inside of it. But you could put 5 parks around the city for basically probably a tenth of a $30 million project for $3 million, make these 5 parks amazing. But I also said, why don't we put volleyball, bocce, pickleball, put all these different aspects so they aren't just carbon copy, more of the same. It's if you want to come to Norwich to go to Washington Street because you love volleyball. In case you didn't know, Angela's an amazing volleyball player.
I heard that. I heard your stories. I heard your stories.
So we've got people with resources and passion that could lead to all these other things. The bocce was because of John Brisson when he was with Epicure, big bocce player.
We got pickleball, you know, Arnold.
Yeah.
Arnold loves pickleball. Right. And these people put their heart and soul into helping as well.
So in your industry, it's interesting because the evolution has gone from sort of the culture, like you said, like the wild guys or whatever, you know, kind of the rebellious type, and it got really I think the economics of it changed things. It got very big business, box stores where, you know, the bands and all that stuff that you talked about earlier. But now I'm seeing more, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm seeing more of a cultural shift. I'm seeing, when I drive around and I travel around the country a lot, I see inner cities swarmed with skateboards everywhere. And this isn't just one culture, which I think people would think back in the beginning was more of a Caucasian, I'm just shooting it like it is. You see that, and I think that's a really impressive thing. You could bring people together through this as well.
So skateboarding has never had an ethnic or religious or a sexist bias. It didn't, because we were all outlaws together. I mean, everybody's just having fun. It didn't matter. We were all hated at the same time. You know what I mean? So we like sided with each other.
Right.
But that's what's beautiful about skateboarding. The other thing you said about like the difference in how it's accepted now, well, consider that the people who are running the industry now were those kids when, you know, I was 10 years old and now I'm 50.
Right.
So we see it differently. The generation of parents that didn't like it are now grandparents or older. So it's a new group who are shepherding the flock, and therein we're also the ones who can say, hey, these are good kids. It's just your grandkid. It's just your nephew or niece. It's not a bad kid. It's just a kid who wants to roll around and enjoy a little joy. If you're bad at football, you get hurt. If you're bad at baseball, you might sit on the bench. If you're bad at skateboarding, nobody cares if you're having fun. You know what I mean? So it's kind of beautiful.
Now, I attended one event down at the Hive. I talked about Charlie, and he had a young boy down there. His name was Ryan Baker.
Okay.
And I don't expect you to hear him, but he's out of Syracuse, New York. And I was doing some film work that day. I was so impressed by this kid. And then I met his dad, and then I got more impressed about the relationship. His dad actually had to buy an old factory so he could train.
Yeah.
This kid wants to go to the Olympics. He was 12 then.
Yep.
I think he's about 16 now. And I watch him online, his evolution, and I just see him all over the country doing things he does. And I'm just so impressed by, I think you guys are into something that is going to have a resurgence even bigger as we see society.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. I mean, you got to figure the Tony Hawk video game is the best-selling video game of all time.
Really?
And a strange footnote is, I'm in the credits of the third one. Yeah, it's weird. It's a joke story, but basically, when I used to be a freelance videographer, I was traveling to film kids for this New Horizon project. I ended up in Newport, Rhode Island, and at that time, I was working with Chris Higginson. His nickname was Crazy Horse, and he ran the park. Well, the people from Neversoft had come up from New York. I think the guy's name was Aaron Camerata, and so they came up to film the room to be able to use it as reference material for the game. All they wanted to do was film the room so they could have their designers be able to look at it. And unfortunately, they forgot to charge their camera, and they were very upset about having to go back to New York and come back to Rhode Island over this silly little snafu. And Crazy Horse goes, Jeff's here to film anyway. Like, why don't you ask him? Because I'm just waiting for them to kick everybody out so I can film the better skaters after hours when no one's around.
Yep.
And they said, well, what do you want? I was like, nothing. Put my name in the credits. And so and then for years they sent me boxes of video games, which was kind of hilarious.
That's cool.
But it was like, I've always thought that was kind of a nice, again, say yes to opportunity.
Right.
Just
Right.
happy to
Right
do
place,
it.
right time, and your industry, you're involved. So how many times have you skateboarded in your work?
Oh, I used to when I was young. I think I sat on a skateboard and just went down the hill.
I had a banana board. That's the extent of my skateboarding.
I think I skated here. I mean, I did everything, and I grew up in Highlands. You know, so if you're on Highland Drive, you know, you have the town.
Not Scotland?
No, in Ledyard, but it was something that we all did. We had some skateboards. We had bikes. We were always out there, and I got hurt.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so tough today, right? We got bruises, and we learn from them and everything. I love when I see, like in Norwich Tech, when I'm going to play volleyball up there, or in different schools and stuff, and I see the skateboards, and I actually see the kids in them. I think adding lights to a lot of them, it makes a huge difference, because I think some of the thing is, let's we got to shut off the lights, once it's in it, and some of these kids don't have anywhere to go, and they're just going to get in trouble. And I think adding lights is actually a good thing.
Well, yeah, and it's a necessity, because it was always like they didn't want kids at the skate park because they might get into trouble.
Yeah.
We were all kids, and a lot of people were always goofing off in baseball dugouts as kids, spray painting and being bad.
Right.
So no one thought that was the baseball players.
I realize sometimes in my past experience, people say, "Oh, we don't want the lights on at the basketball court late because it's going to draw trouble." I'm thinking you get kids off the streets in those
I
locations.
think of it too. That's
so it's
exactly how I think of
And
it.
also, too, so I went around town and did like a little study where I took a picture of every park and rec facility, court, field, with their lights on at night, and no one on any of them. And then that's one of the points I brought up with the mayor. I said, I don't understand why the skate park is different. Like, you can't get hurt walking across a baseball field in the dark, across a football field, across the soccer field, but your light goes up like daylight. Skate park is one place you shouldn't walk across in the dark. You're going to hurt yourself.
Exactly.
You should probably like that one if you're worried about risk.
Yeah, well, let's let it up. So we'll be back in a minute. One table radio later.
City Radio. CH Norwich, 94.5 W233DB Norwich. News this hour is Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Retail sales slipped 0.6% last month. That was the biggest drop since May of 2025. Analysts say it's likely tied to the fact that government tax refund money dried up for many would-be shoppers. There had been a notable bump in spending in both April and May. That's when those tax refunds came in to people's accounts. Gas prices ticked up again overnight. AAA says prices rose to $4.08 a gallon nationwide on average. That was up from $3.85 a month ago. It, of course, is tied to ongoing stress and tension related to the war with Iran. Willie Nelson reports vandals have struck another major memorial in the nation's capital.
President Trump says the World War II memorial was hit by spray painting vandals. The president called it a deep insult to the American heroes who died in the war. Trump noted this follows earlier vandalism at the reflecting pool and said authorities are on the trail of those responsible. Willie Nelson, Washington.
On Wall Street, it's a down session right now all across the board. The Dow is struggling. It's off by 166 points. The S&P 500 down about 22, and the NASDAQ down 147. Japan today dealing with record flooding. It's blamed for at least 4 deaths east of Tokyo. Heavy rains have forced people from their homes while leaving thousands stranded at one major airport. More wildfires, meanwhile, are breaking out amid an ongoing heat wave in Europe. More from Charles de la Desmond.
1,800 residents of the village of Gay in Germany's North Rhine-Westphalia state have been evacuated after a wildfire in a nearby forest threatened to reach their homes. And in Croatia, 14 people have been hospitalized, of whom 7 remain in life-threatening condition early Friday from a fire that raged overnight by the coastal town of Onis, forcing 1,000 people to evacuate their homes. And in Spain, historical artifacts have been swiftly removed from the monastery of San Juan de la Pena and taken for safekeeping as the wildfire advances on the site. I'm Charles de la Desma.
More at townhall.com.
Full speed into summer, and if you're thinking about buying a home this year, here's what you need to do first. Get pre-qualified. Not once you found the house, now, before you even start looking. Here's why. In this market, houses sell in days, sometimes hours. The buyers who win aren't the ones with the highest offer. They're the ones already approved, ready to move, with a lender who can actually close. If you're not pre-qualified, you're a week behind. Maybe that house is gone. Well, I want to tell you about Fellowship Home Loans. For over 20 years, my friends Mike and Brian, guys that I've worked with, they've built Fellowship around one thing, getting loans done for real families with unique situations. They use programs and options that typical lenders don't take the time to explore. Down payment solutions that fit the way people actually live. Everything's done in-house, one roof, one team, all with a servant-led mentality. Get pre-qualified today. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/MikeG or call 800-510-MIKE. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, equal housing lender, NMLS number 819382.
Lending by the book. Nationwide Mortgage Bankers.
Here's Rich Thomason now with a midday Wall Street business report.
A key driver of the U.S. economy, retail sales weakened last month, according to newly released government statistics. Less expensive gasoline played a role in the spending slump. Retail sales slipped 0.6% last month, the steepest decline since May of last year. Shoppers pulled back in several areas, including consumer electronics and online retailers. There was a notable bump in spending in both April and May as Americans dipped into their tax refunds. Wall Street began the day in record territory. The market reacting to the latest price data showing that inflation cooled in July, as well as a decline in oil prices. However, oil is on the rebound to end the week after 2 United Arab Emirates tankers were attacked with drones while trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. You'll find breaking a drought discovery. Keith Peters has the details.
Rome's ancient Nero's Bridge has reemerged from the Tiber River as exceptionally low water levels expose parts of the historic structure near St. Peter's Basilica. Weeks of little to no rain have caused the Tiber's flow to fall below 80 cubic meters per second, that according to Rome's Civil Protection Service. Archaeologists say the bridge, traditionally associated with Emperor Nero, may actually predate his reign and have been built under his uncle, Emperor Caligula. The discovery comes as Rome faces a water crisis after prolonged dry periods. Keith Peters reporting.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission has announced a recall of some mini fridges that were sold on Amazon. The CPSC says about 250,000 Kululi mini fridges are being recalled. More of these stories can be found at townhall.com. Kululi mini fridges are being recalled. More of these stories can be
used. Plenty of sunshine around this afternoon, and we'll start to get rid of some of that wildfire smoke as well, making for a brighter sky. Can't rule out the chance of an isolated shower or storm to pop up late this afternoon through this evening, just with the heat of the day. Not all of us will see one, but if you do, you could see a quick downpour. So I want to give you the first alert to that. High temperatures this afternoon, very seasonable for this time of year in the low to mid 80s. Good news, tomorrow is the pick of the weekend. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the low 80s. Low humidity will make for a very comfortable feel. Not only that, low temperatures the next couple of nights in the upper 50s and low 60s. So you can open up those windows tonight, give the air conditioning a break. Sunday, though, humidity returns, as does rain chances later in the day through early Monday morning. It looks like we'll see some showers that could be heavy at times. In the First Alert Forecast Center at Channel 3, I'm meteorologist Tyler Hughes.
Slow walking St. Tyler, really glad, thank you, right here back, WICH 1310 AM. This is Kevin Allen. We're right here on the One Table Radio Show, guys. This is a weekly show. We do 12 to 2 p.m. each and every Friday. Of course, our partner, Angela Adams. And, Angela actually was a sign-off. I was not going to get this gig unless Angela approved me, so I want to thank you for that, Angela. Thank you so much.
Is that actually a true story?
We both know it's a true story. So moving on from that.
I actually didn't know that. So I know you're very sweet. You like to give me
Twin Powers. Twin Powers. I shared it with you. I said, Angela's going to be a part of this. And they're like, oh, you can sign her. We've been trying for years, and she's been refusing. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know her like I do. I used to serve drinks to her up at the pub. And so, back to the pub days. All right, so I want to do this. We have a caller quick, right? And I want to make sure Paul it is. Is it Paul? Pat, sorry, it was a Pat. Pat on the line. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, folks. Hey, what a great show. I'm pretty stoked to have tuned in today for interesting guests. And I just wanted to tell my crew about recently meeting Jeff.
Hold on a second. Let me switch this so Jeff can hear it.
Awesome, Pat. Hold on, we're going to put a headset. So
we have ears.
We're in a very affluent studio here. We have headsets for everybody. Go ahead.
I'm here for the Pat. What's going on, man?
Hey, I didn't know the guests had to share headsets.
We're working on it.
Hey, great show. I just wanted to call in and tell my story a little bit about my interaction with Jeff. I just found out about Jeff recently from a friend of mine from word of mouth, because while I am not a skateboard dude, I was a BMX kid, and I was in need for some new Vans because I've been wearing Vans since I was a teenager. And a friend of mine recommended Jeff's store, which I'm embarrassed. I didn't even know he was down there. And as a kid who grew up in Norwich, I'm like, I would rather go to a small shop and buy from, a small vendor. And I met Jeff, super cool guy. And now, Jeff, I'm hearing more about your experience and what you're doing, and I'm blown away. Awesome, awesome for what you're doing for the community, for sport. One thing I haven't heard anyone comment on, I'm like in my late 50s, and one cool thing is I'm seeing teens and preteens wearing the same design band sneakers I wore as a kid. And I'm like, I don't have much to relate to with kids and vice versa, but I can walk up to a young person and go, hey, I recognize those sneakers. So it's pretty cool how, Vans aren't going out of style. And whether it's the young kids wearing the Vans sneakers, or the other day I saw a young girl wearing a Van Halen t-shirt, and I just died out.
It's interesting too, because when you think about it, like a lot of people are trying to come out with what's new and exciting. Vans has this kind of classic style where they're kind of timeless, and that's one of the beauties of it. Like, a friend of mine who was the former first selectman out in Niantic, Mark Dickerson, he would come through and literally buy Vans slip-ons to knock on doors, and other gentlemen. Peter Nystrom bought some skate highs from me, which is like a ridiculous 1970s looking shoe. But it's so cool to think that these shoes live on, and they're part of your personality as well. I mean, skateboarding and counterculture, whether it was punk rock or whether it was music or if it was art or skate scene, everybody wore those shoes at one point, and I think it's a badge of honor.
Amazing.
And and we appreciate your calling, Jeff, as well.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to Angie Adams. Angie, I was one of the volleyball crew back in the day, and I'm glad to hear. I think you're still playing.
I am still playing. I'm trying.
All right, hey, great show, folks.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very
Thanks
much.
for being a caller and keep listening to us. There you go. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's what a great call. And Jeff, it's a testimony to what you're doing. So I had a vision. I see you in a mobile bus selling sneakers throughout Northern County. And by the way, Mark and I are working on my project. He's actually partnered with me and came on my team, Nickerson, that is. So it's great that you mentioned his name. Angela, I want to go to you before we let you guys out of this interview here because I could do this all day. I love this. This is just chill and laid back. But you have so many activities. Let's lay them out for the people that are right here.
I'm just going to go real quick because I know you have another guest, but you tune into go to www.norrischamber.com or gnacc.org. Check out our events that we have coming up, or just visit our Facebook page. We do have a ton of events coming up. Next week, actually, on Wednesday, is a Guard Arts event that we're partnering up with 3 other chambers as well. It's at 5 o'clock. If you want to go and you're listening, and maybe Pat might want to go too, and you guys want to sign up underneath as a membership rate, you don't have to be a member to go to this event. Just give me a call at the chamber, 887-1647, and we'll get you in. It's going to be something with the symphony's going to be there at Guard Arts. You get to check that out. When was the last time you've been there as well? And then they actually have a planetarium, like an exhibit there. So there's going to be a lot going on. That's on Wednesday. Of course we have it the same night. So I'm going to go there, pop in, and then head on over to our Rock the Docks because we have 2 rain dates that are going on. We have Branded. So tonight is JC Revival, so head on down. Scott Haney just said that, it's not going to rain exactly over us. I hope so, but the weather looks pretty good now, so I was a little worried about it this morning, but JC Revival is a husband and wife, and they are phenomenal. So come on down and see me at the Rock the Docks at the Norristown Green tonight at 6 o'clock. Next Wednesday, you come down and see Branded, Country That Rocks, and then that Friday is that Wednesday is the reschedule, and then on Friday we have a reschedule for T-Tones at the Norristown Green. That'll end the summer. As far as the Friday night greens, and we have one more the following week. And that's going to be Fusion. So, just follow us on Facebook if you're ever interested in going to an event. Remember, you don't have to be a member. You can also be a friends of. We have a few. Peter Nystrom is he's actually a friends of Rock the Dogs, but is also a friends of an ambassador for the chamber as well. So if you want to give back to the chamber, give back to these small businesses that are there and to our community, the chamber is the place to go. So that's about it for me. Jeff's going to jump on right now, and he's going to tell you how to get hold of him for this stuff.
So, really what's going on with us right now is back to school. So if you haven't had the opportunity to stop by, the skate shop is at 175 Central Avenue in Greenville. We're open from 2 to 6 during the week, which is basically after school till dinner time. So it's real easy, after school till dinner time. And we're doing buy 3, get 1 free. We do this every year in August for back to school. If you got 4 items on the counter, the cheapest one's on us. And basically tax-free week starts on the 16th. It runs through the 22nd. Come down, see us. We're there every day, 7 days a week.
And speaking of that back-to-school specials, we are actually going to be promoting all the back-to-school retail, haircuts, and everything that you need to as far as for teachers. And actually, like Travel and Tons Coffee Shop is going to give 50% off for teachers. Just show your ID. You have your special going on. We're going to continue to promote those sales. So if you're a business out there and you have some back-to-school specials that are going on for our community and our teachers and our students and stuff, to make sure you give us a call so we'll help to promote that. So because next week starts, is it Sunday that starts the tax-free?
Yeah, 16th.
So, yeah, the 16th. So all week we're going to be promoting all of our wonderful small businesses and services that are in the area.
Awesome stuff right there. There you go. That's the Angela Adams update. Each and every week we get that update from her, all the activities. And if you need further information, you can find her at the chamber and on the website and find all her information. And again, your website, can you mention for us one more time?
We use Instagram for everything, so it's at Ideal Skate Shop Norwich.
Just too cool. It's cool. Huh? Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it very much. And once you're back,
Thank you all.
You're not just a skate shop owner. You're an economic and socially connected person. So Norwich should be grateful to have you here. Thank you, Angela. Once again, back in a moment, 1 to the radio right here, WIC 1310. We'll be back with our next guest, Rachel. This one's going to be tough, guys, but it's going to be a story worth telling and listening to. Thank you.
All right.
If your business isn't getting noticed, Procop Sign Company can change that. Family owned since 1964, Procop has over 60 years of experience helping local businesses stand out. From eye-catching signs and banners to trade show displays and brand intents, they do it all. Want advertising that never stops? Their custom vehicle lettering and wraps turn your ride into a mobile billboard. Plus, Procop offers promotional products and printed materials like business cards, brochures, and more to keep your brand looking sharp. Check them out at procopsigns.com.
From plumbing and heating to air conditioning, well pumps, water treatment, and more, Carboni does it all. Stay ahead of the summer heat with a new cooling system. Whether you're upgrading your current unit or installing a brand new system, Carboni's experienced technicians will keep your home cool and comfortable. Known for dependable service, courteous mechanics, and treating customers like family, Carboni Plumbing and Heating is a proud Regional Water Authority company. Beat the heat and call 860-642-7847 today for your free estimate. Beat the heat and call 860-642-7847 today for your free estimate.
Okay, here we are, and we are back right here. That's what we do. Can you help Rachel with her headset, please, and get her set? And so, before we get into introducing who we have, I just want to talk a little bit about the last guest we had is our good guy Tyler's getting Rachel all set up over here for this conversation. The last two guests we had was obviously Jeff and with Angela. What an incredible community kind of representation there with the businesses and just getting involved so much. And so great to have those conversations. And sometimes, like I've told you from the beginning when we started doing the show, that we're going to have tough conversations. And I want to just welcome first and foremost someone who's a social media friend. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, perfect. So this is not going to be an easy conversation for those that are listening. And Tyler, I hope if you can, make sure the camera probably goes on to Rachel, please, if you can.
Oh, don't catch me crying, please. I'm going to try to keep it in.
I understand. If you don't want the camera on, it's fine. We can go to audio, whatever you think. It's up to you.
Audio's fine.
Audio's fine. Just
Audio's fine.
keep it on me. Put the camera on me. Yeah, there you go. So please tell me your full name, because I don't even know. Whatever you want to put out there is what
my name is Rachel Rickier. I was the wife of Sergeant Rickier, who took his life January of 2025.
And so, guys, you kind of, I let Rachel sort of say that because without trying to, get too knowing here, I know that your story is about your husband committing suicide, and he was a law enforcement officer.
Yes.
And you might know or might not know, I was a correction officer for 21 years, and I'm very, very passionate about mental health. And I think you and I had shared some stories back and forth. I've seen you over the last year, and you've been going through some stuff, but you process it openly. And I kind of got attracted to the sense that you're willing to share that with people because that's the way you help people and help yourself. And so let's talk a little bit about, this is a tough story. So for the listeners, this is going to be one that's going to be emotional. Talk a little bit about your situation and your husband's, obviously, his time serving, and we'll get into what happened.
Yeah, my husband had done 4 years in the Marine Corps, and he had served the town of Situate, Rhode Island, for just under 23 years. We lived over in Plainfield, Connecticut. He struggled with alcohol a lot through those years with the stuff that he saw, and unfortunately his sadness outweighed his hope, and on January 12th, 2025, he went missing. And there was a full-blown manhunt for him, and his body was found the following day at the Sterling Town Hall in Sterling, Connecticut.
So you're sorry. Is this your first time talking publicly?
No, I've done a couple public speakings, and I was on Channel 12 in Rhode Island last year. I did a 3-segment series with Channel 12. I have a son in the Marine Corps. I also have a brother who's a police officer, and you just got to talk about men's mental health because you guys aren't allowed to have feelings. You guys got to be the tough guys, and you hold it all in. And I just can't have history repeat itself with my son. So I just got to keep talking about it. It's tough. But when it's all happened, people are like, "You're going to be quiet. You're just going to let it go." And I said, "No, I'm going to say everything that happened, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and maybe help somebody else. Maybe help another law enforcement wife who lived through a lot of the stuff I lived through that was extremely unhealthy." So,
I mean, obviously, this kind of story, suicide, It's so traumatic in a sense of like the family, the friends, the community, law enforcement community. Everyone wonders what we could have done differently, and I know that's a lot of processing that you've been going through yourself, and I'm sure you'll touch into it. What was some of the stuff that was going on in your husband's life that sort of put? I mean, we know that normal police work is hard,
Yeah.
and I know that there's a lot of things that we could talk about how society has really hurt. Yeah,
Definitely.
And I want to get into that, but in your particular to your husband's story, there has to have been some things. Was it the Marine Corps? Or was there some stuff there that was obvious, or?
If you had known my husband, he was like extremely against suicide. Like he would get so angry having to go to a suicide call or suicide attempt. He would just be so pissed because he saw what it did to the families and the first responders. So having this as an outcome was completely shocking to everyone that knew him. He had struggled with alcohol through the whole entire marriage. The last 6 months before he took his life is when the signs were there. It got pretty scary. It got pretty bad in the household. My son was off in the Marine Corps, so it was just us at home, and it got pretty bad.
So your husband is now he's working how many years as a police officer before this took place?
He had just under 23 years. He would actually schedule to retire August 20th of 2026.
So let's listen to that just for a second. Just
Yes, 15 months.
15 months to his retirement.
Yeah. We're starting to figure out our next plan. We weren't in the best shape in the marriage, but I'm old school. I was still there.
You weren't quitting.
I wasn't quitting. I'm not the one that quit. I'm not the one that gave up.
Yeah. You obviously at that point when things are going on in your life. I mean, I want people that are listening to the show to understand like this interview. I try to be as positive as possible, and I know you are too, right? Yeah. And I want to find some positivity, and I know it's going to be hard, right?
Well, when my son came home for the funeral, he got his girlfriend pregnant, and I have a grandbaby 9 months and 4 days after my husband passed away. I became a grandma. Look at you, congratulations on the funeral. And like, what are the chances of that? He flew home for the funeral and got his girlfriend pregnant.
So there you go.
I have a granddaughter.
That's amazing. Oh, I have a granddaughter too, so that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And so that's going to be amazing. So, it's never going to be easy, right? And so this process, and I think a lot of people, they do, like you talked about earlier when we just started talking, there's a lot of things about like men in those positions, especially women, we almost societally, we think you're more in touch with your emotions and all that stuff, and men get this kind of stigma that they're not allowed to talk about their emotions. What was some of the stuff that, I mean, was it, and I'm not trying to say, I'm just asking whatever you wanted to share, what led to this emotional place he went to?
I don't know. He was always very on edge. That was just him. Like, we bought the front door of the police station because he broke it one time. Like, he had emotions. He had big emotions.
He was a big boy?
He was a good sized guy. You wanted him next to you if you were going to be wrestling that night. You wanted him as your backup.
Okay.
He was a street cop. He was a street cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he come from a family of cops?
No, he did not.
So interesting. Okay.
No, he joined the Marine Corps and decided he wanted to be a police officer.
Interesting.
And my son was following in those footsteps. I don't know with how stuff's turned out right now. I don't know what my son's plans are now.
Mm-hmm.
I just want him to continue to keep talking and taking care of himself because, following in your dad's footsteps and getting the phone call by the Red Cross that you got to call home and having your mom let you know that his dad just killed himself was a little trying. I'm trying for him.
I can say I can imagine, but I don't know your situation. So you obviously are taking this tragedy and you're trying, and I think you're doing it, but you're still in the evolution of trying to really get back and make some changes.
I'm trying.
And I mean, I see more public speaking, more help, and maybe awareness. Is that something that's driving you to try to help people?
Yeah, eventually I'd like to speak at the police academy. I would like to sit down with law enforcement wives, show them the signs. My husband didn't have an on and off switch. He was caught 24/7. It did not ever shut off.
Yeah, that's hard. Those personalities of law enforcement officers, especially the cop, right?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't shut off. The guys hanging around the fire pit telling the same stories and all that stuff. There's probably a lot to be said. I mean, I went around that thing, so I'm not at all trying to compare notes. I'm just sharing, right? But so corrections officers, I think on a national average, have a life expectancy of about 58 years old.
Okay.
Now, I think suicide's one of the check boxes there. A lot of it's life habits and things like that. And I think it all kind of pairs together. Was there any alcohol? Was there anything that also contributed that you think?
Oh, definitely, definitely the alcohol. Like I said, those last 6 months were a little trying. On September 17th, 2024, I had an outpatient surgery and I came home. He had consumed a whole bottle of Captain, and when I woke up from a nap, he was completely drunk and shaking his head at me, telling me I needed a psyche eval. He was gone. And he physically assaulted me. So for the first time in our marriage, I actually had to call Plainfield PD to come into my house, and he was taken down at gunpoint.
Wow. And so this is kind of the beginning of some of those things that were falling apart in his life.
Yeah, 100 days later, he took his life.
100 days after that first moment. And that was the first time you saw some of that more aggressive and stuff like that?
Yeah, that was like...
Not the guy you knew.
Not the guy I knew. Not the guy I knew.
Do you think it was alcohol only or mental health for both? Obviously mental health.
I think it was both.
Yeah.
I think it was both. He was having manic attacks. I think it was the week before he took his life. He had woken up from a nap and he was very frantic. And he's like, I just need a break. I just need some time off. So I was like, say you hurt your back. Fake a back injury. Take a week off. Breathe. Say you twisted funny on a detail.
Yeah.
So he technically wasn't even cleared to work when he drove to Situate, got his gun out of his locker, and drove back to Connecticut.
That's when he did it. So
they pinged his phone. Plainfield evacuated me in time. I was evacuated. It took me a while to...
So wait a minute. Once he took the gun, they started the alarms of...
So we had gone out to lunch with his mom that day, and we had gone back to the house, and he was acting a little off. I had hopped in the shower, and there was some weird stuff going on with the shower. When he was home, he insisted he had to be in there with me. It was it's the whole month of December, it started to be like that. And you're kind of living in it. It's becomes your normal. It was okay, this is just today. So he tried to get in the shower with me, and I'm like, can you just leave me alone? Mm-hmm. And when I came out of the shower, his car was gone. And that wasn't out of the ordinary behavior for him because he'd get drunk and take off. It was just years of dealing with it, so I didn't freak out, but something did feel different. So I made a phone call to number 3 on the police department's wife, and she got her husband up, and he texted Jay and said, hey, buddy, I'm out here looking for you. Rachel got a hold of us. And his text to him was, don't bother, I'm done. And at that point, I didn't realize he had driven to the police station and got his gun out of his locker. He took his life with his own service weapon.
Was he sober when he did it?
No.
He was drunk?
No.
Yeah.
He wasn't sober.
So he walked in the police department intoxicated?
I believe so, but he held it good. He was a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. I'm not blaming him for that.
In all honesty, I've never even looked at the autopsy. I don't know if there's... I have a feeling there possibly was more than alcohol going on, but at this point, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right, at this point.
And why add more questions to a suicide? There's already enough questions there.
Unbelievable. Tyler, how long till we have till the next...
We actually, the last break, auto played 2 breaks, so we only have one till the end of the...
Okay, cool. We'll just keep going then, right to the end. So, Rachel, I wanted to, so you set up the story, and for those that are listening out there, this is a very heavy topic, and no one's expected to call in, but if you have something that you want to share that might be, beneficial to this topic, and we're talking about suicide, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about people who are in high-level stress positions, and sometimes we give a pass to those people, right? Because, a lot of us, and I'm not saying this to you, I want to hear, sometimes we enable, right, to some degree?
I kind of feel that way a little bit because even that night in September, I didn't press any charges. His police chief came to my house and picked him up. We actually have a seasonal campsite in Basra, and he brought him to our camper to sleep it off. But his police chief was involved. Why didn't they make him go get checked then, see what was going on? It was just,
old school cop, let's bury this didn't happen. And 100 days later, he killed himself.
Amazing. You know, this story and law enforcement and some of the people that are listening right now, the city of Norwich, there was a young police officer who actually killed himself in the deputy chief's office with his service revolver probably about 20 years ago. I don't remember, Hammerhand was his name. I remember the name because I was, in that kind of work then. And it's often, I'm just, even in our job, we don't carry guns perhaps, but we go through all that, the badge mentality thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's just that, I think more mental health engagement needs to happen in those industries. And
100%.
I think that's if you have any mark that you leave, which with the sadness is that you're going to change some things and hopefully impact those, especially the police department he was associated with.
I'm trying.
I know you're trying to. We're going to help you do that. Okay, we're going to help you do that. So I the mental health is a big part of it. So when you think about your situation and you hear, I'm sure this thrusts you into looking at other stories. And you probably now pay a lot more attention to it.
I do.
How prevailing is this in the industry of law enforcement? Have you found some things that are like, you're seeing like, wow, this is an epidemic?
Oh, it's definitely an epidemic. It's
think so?
definitely 100% definitely is. And I think more officers kill themselves than are killed in the line of duty. I believe the statistics are there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That in itself is scary. And so as cops become, more socially sort of responsible, they're not allowed to, they're trained one way, put out on the street another way, and there's a lot of stress there. But would you say in just going on in the conversation, but sort of a little comparison, do you think your husband brought a lot of that to the table previous, or was it developed during the career?
I think it was the career. We had gone to a party the night before. He had a dark sense of humor, which you kind of have to have in that field.
Sure.
In that field, to get through what you see, you do have I have a dark sense of humor. It's not even funny. We were at a party and he had made mention about, he had gone to a suicide call with a younger gentleman who put the gun in his mouth and took his life right in front of them. And he was talking about it the night before he killed himself in front of a group of people. So I think it was just
Where he was mentally saw that.
Yeah, and he was talking to my son a lot about it. One of my son's friends had come home from the Marine Corps, and he hung himself when he came home on leave, and that was 13 months before my husband took his life, and he was constantly discussing suicide and not to do it and how selfish it is, and so for this to happen was just like
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I like when the two Connecticut troopers showed up to give me the death notification. I just thought he got drunk and he passed out in his car somewhere. I was just
That was going to be another kind
I thought it was just going to be what it was. And the trooper that found him, he reached out to me afterwards and he said he's sorry he couldn't find him sooner.
Which obviously, that probably wouldn't have changed.
It wouldn't have changed it. It wouldn't have changed it because it would have been another day. Like this was in his head.
Did he ever tell you, this is what I'm going to do? Did he ever leave any signs of some of the things you've seen in the depression and the health?
Through the years with his drinking and his erratic behavior, I would hide his.
Did you ever ask him?
If he would kill himself?
Yeah, did you ever ask that question?
I never asked it because I would see how enraged he would get after dealing with the suicide and having to deal with the family and the first responders having to deal with that and see that. Like,
and his enraged, would he share with you his enraged because of how the after effects?
The after effects of it. So, he saw firsthand what it did to everybody. So, like, whenever I got that suicide text from him, I was just beside myself. I'm like, this can't be real. Like, this is... And it was perfectly written too, so it was just
methodical time to do it.
Oh yeah. So when he had gone missing and I made that phone call, I had a minute-long conversation with him, and it wasn't English. He answered the phone, and it was just gibberish. None of it made any sense. And that's when I knew something was really bad. And that's when I called number 3 on the department's wife for help. And we searched for him all night. I mean, there was a full-blown manhunt. I was a school bus driver. They searched all the school buses. They searched my campground. It was everywhere looking for him.
And the fear was he might have wanted to hurt you at the time.
Possibly, and he was armed and unhinged. And, obviously they kept it on the down low for a long time before they sent out the bolo. And when he sent the bolo out, it was already a few hours, and he was probably already gone at that point. He was probably already gone.
So your situation again, guys. You're listening to WICH One Table Radio, talking to Rachel's story about her husband, a police officer who actually took his own life, and it's the after effects on the family, right, and all that. And so, what's the family do in this situation? Like, what was it like within the first 48, 70? What was going on?
Well, when it comes to law enforcement, it's even so much more. I actually drove and got his body at the morgue and drove it back to Plainfield and then drove it to Rhode Island where I had his services. Stuff's
You drove.
We drove to get his body. There were 4 cruisers. We went and brought his body back.
The cruiser, yeah. So they escorted him.
We escorted him back. When my son finally was able to fly in the next day, and we had a police escort waiting for him at TF Green when he got off the plane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's and I think some people might, in society's so crazy, right? Some people, cops are this and that. Cops are human, man, and the families are human too, right? And so when you go through that experience, you get the body, you go through the process, and now the phone's not ringing as much. What's going on with you? Because that's we're here for you, right? So, and I want you to know, like, there's you're not alone, right? You know that, and so, but you probably feel.
You feel super alone. He had started sheltering us so much. Like we stopped associating with guys in the police department. We stopped going to things. He started taking us away on holidays, just me and my son. Like stuff had changed. Like, and you're living in it. It's just your normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a real tough time. My son was able to come home for 3 weeks. And I mean, it was 2 weeks just getting ready for the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
But when he left, I fell apart. Like, there's
by yourself.
By myself. I moved to Connecticut because it was a little bit cheaper over than we were living in Rhode Island. So we crossed over the line to Plainfield, and my son's in the Marine Corps. My family's in Massachusetts, and my life was all over TV and all over social media. Everybody knew. Like. My son was stationed in Kings Bay, and he did not have his phone at the time, and I'm so happy he didn't, because once it hit social media, it blew up. My life blew up overnight, like really quick.
Did you? How were you feeling about the responding to those things that were out there? Did you just want to shut it off? Did you pay attention to it?
I paid attention to it. I had unfortunately had one woman who thought it was nice to go live where my husband's body was being taken out of a car, and state police went over to her and told her to take it off off her Instagram now. Watching your life unfold on TV, it's just because I worked so hard. My marriage wasn't good. We weren't in a good spot. Like, it wasn't healthy. There was years of unhealthiness.
More mental abuse.
A little bit of physical, the alcohol. And I hit it and then all of a sudden everything was just out there, and it was just, I couldn't protect him anymore. I think once I had to call the police in September when he attacked me, I think that's when he knew he was done. Like, I think that was it.
So it was tough from there. So when you had gone through the whole process and say 2-3 months out, what's going on now? Because are you starting to say, I got to do something? Or are you still, obviously you're always going to be grieving.
I'm going to always be grieving, because it's not even, it's more for my son.
Yeah. And your granddaughter.
And my granddaughter. One of my therapists asked me what the scariest part of that night was. And I was nervous when I knew he had his gun and he was coming back for me at that point when they evacuated me. The
Did he tell you he was coming back?
He did not tell me, but they pinned his phone.
But how do you know he was coming back?
I don't 100% know. And I'll never know.
Yeah.
I'll never know.
You feel that way?
The way he was driving and where he was, and there's a reason Plainfield got me out in time.
Do you think he knew that he would have hurt you, so he hurt himself first?
Possibly. Yeah. I don't understand why he drove back.
Oh, I don't think we probably will, right?
Never know. We'll never know.
How did you engage into your own therapy, mental health right away?
I did. I started seeing a therapist right away. But there's no guidebook to your husband killing himself publicly and how it's going to affect you. And I did start drinking a little bit too much. That's when I decided I put myself in an outpatient rehab program. I didn't think I was an alcoholic, and I still don't. but I needed to find a better coping skill.
Having a lot going on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was in the program for almost a year, and that program saved my life.
Good. Shout out to that program.
Ocean State Job Law. Ocean State Job.
You were shopping there.
Ocean State Recovery in Johnston, Rhode Island.
Well, Ocean State Job Law can save your life too.
They saved my life.
Just an observation. I know. So all of us, just men in general, especially cops, I feel like it's often like glamorized that they're like just deal with their problems with alcohol. You know what I mean? Right. It's like so many movies and shows. It's like that's the tough guy thing to do. Right. And I also had a problem with alcohol. I used it as a coping mechanism. Yeah, Tyler and I are both openly, you know, I'm in recovery, and I'm really appreciative of the honest, open conversation. And I think, Tyler, you know, it's almost like that's something that needs to be addressed in these industries. Like addiction, it's not just the addiction because it pairs up with the mental health problem, and that's when you get the results of what you're dealing with. So it's interesting time. You know, so what would be your hope to? Obviously, you can't change any of this.
Can't change it.
But what would be your best hope to have something positive that could come out of this? What would be that positive thing?
I just want to keep sharing and telling my story, even if it just helps one person not feel alone, or another law enforcement wife who's telling my story, even if it just helps one person not feel alone. Those stuff's not right at home, and letting them know the stuff that I went through so they can watch out for it. And I don't know.
Have you started to mentor other wives or other people?
My therapist. So I work with a therapist that actually, when something happens at the police department, she goes in for the debriefing. So I'm very careful with who I've put myself with to work with me because my situation's so different. I have PTSD. I'm not gonna lie, this was traumatizing. While he was losing his mind, he tortured me. Like it was bad. It was bad, and I just got to keep saying to myself, it wasn't him. It was the mental illness. It was the mental illness, but it still doesn't undo what he did to me. I can't give him a pass for that. I'm still angry about that. But I'm just going to keep sharing my story. I do plan to write a book eventually.
That's sort. I mean, not sort of. I know you've mentioned that, right? Yeah. So I think that's something that, you know, finding that ability to have an outlet that can help people. Also, getting you in front of other resources. You got a call? Any callers that might want to call in here? 860-889-5252.
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to go to a break, and then we'll come back after that. If you're willing to stay around, you know, so we'll go to a break, and then we'll be the last story coming in right now. Back in a moment from TV Radio with Rachel.
Sorry, I thought I was on the one.
No, it's okay. Everything seems to be off on.
I'm floored.
I'm floored too.
It feels good to be floored. I'm floored and I like it. Thanks to Clough Carpet One Floor and Home. Clough for all of your flooring needs. Not just carpet, a huge selection of hardwoods, tile, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. And Clough installs everything we sell. Clough offers the best service and knowledgeable staff to help you pick the right flooring for your needs and budget. Financing is available for qualified buyers. By the way, Thanks to all of our loyal customers for voting us Best Flooring Company by Reader's Choice for another year. Remember, Clough comes to your home to measure and give you an estimate for free. We stand behind our floors. Ask about our Carpet One Beautiful Guarantee and get ready to floor with Clough. Family owned since 1972. Across from DJ's on Crossroads in Waterford. And at CloughCarpet1Waterford.com. Clough Carpet One Floor and Home. The one-stop shop for your perfect floor.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked. Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble. For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Hey everyone, Samantha here with R&W Heating Energy Solutions. Thinking about new equipment? Whether you're looking to heat or cool your home, we've got you covered. With high-efficiency boilers, furnaces, and oil tanks, heat pumps, Fujitsu ductless split heat pumps, and central air conditioning, R&W has the technology to keep you and your home comfortable year-round. Give our pros at R&W Heating Energy Solutions a call to schedule your free estimate at 860-848-9993.
Now at the floor covering shop, there's even more miles and miles of carpet and tile. There's a lot more product on display to make your dream project a reality. Just stop into our 10,000 square foot showroom or visit us online at floorcoveringshopinc.com. Come see the Grab family on Central Avenue in Norwich. Browse our huge inventory and get the right floor at the right price.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. You can hear us here on WIC 1310. This is One Table Radio, and we're speaking with Rachel. Rachel's husband, a law enforcement officer, took his own life. And just off the air, we're kind of catching up a little bit as we live in a world of social media, right? It's like that, and that's how we met. I saw a lot of her content. I saw the stress and the pain, and I was sharing. In my own personal life, I've dealt with this issue. Just talking with you about it, and in my own personal life, people that I know personally, that have gone through it, and so I am going to always try to bring attention to things that can help people.
Yeah.
And so as we finish up this conversation, which is a tough one, guys, there's no getting around it. It's a hard subject, and then for you, I just feel I'm sad, but I feel an energy of you that there's a purpose. And so you just talked about going to a PTSD training.
Yes.
And also, maybe seeking public speaking. And so if anyone's out there that might have suggestions of places where Rachel can reach out or get some help with sharing this story with law enforcement, families, maybe people that are thinking about doing it, or other industries too that have a lot of stress, your story is going to be able to probably tie in a lot. So feel free, 860-889-5252 to call. And Rachel, when are we going to see you out kind of trying to help people moving forward?
I still need to work on myself a little bit. I just switched to a different. I need to change the meds. I've never been on my meds in my entire life until this all happened. And it's funny because my therapist is like, "You're kind of a cop. Your husband trained you to be a cop." I'm an old school cop wife. I got married at 22 years old, and I was trained to be the strong one when he got home. And cop lives are built a little different. We always know that there's a possibility they're not going to come home. So I always had that in the back of my head, and I think that's the only thing that got me through this. Like, I always knew that it was a possibility, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Elsa Kurt?
No.
Elsa, I'm going to introduce you to Elsa. Used to come on my podcast back in the day, but she is married to a police officer, and she's heavy into sharing this on her platform.
Okay.
And so I think that might be a good contact, especially being a cop's wife kind of thing,
Yeah.
And not the same scenario, but she's in that network of people.
Yeah.
And the other platform that really strikes me is Law Enforcement Today, and I don't know if you know that platform, but I definitely want to get you connected with some people, because I think I know your story is going to help somebody.
Okay.
And it's no way of getting around it. It's a sad, shitty story, right? I don't know if I can say that. Am I allowed to say that? I don't even know. I shouldn't say that word, but it's a cry. I guess the emotional side of it, gets you emotional. I'm just feeling for you and your family, but I also want to give a chance before we wrap up. What is going to be the positive that you take from? And there's nothing positive, but what can you do to kind of, what are you doing?
I've come to the realization that some of us just aren't meant to live soft lives. Some of us are just meant to help others, and some of us just aren't meant to live. What I'm going through and me sharing it is going to be somebody else's guidebook for survival, and I just keep telling myself that. I'm just going to keep talking, and it's not for attention. It's not for anything. I want to help someone. I don't want another family to have to go through this. Seeing my son struggle. My son went in a 72-hour watch in the Marine Corps after this all happened. Like,
You have a good relationship, father and son.
best friends. Like he joined the Marine Corps to follow his father's footsteps. Yeah. So imagine being 19 years old, following in your dad's footsteps, and the Red Cross calls you and tells you to call home, and your mom tells you your dad's gone. Like
that's heavy.
I'm the one that gave the death notification to my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my son.
Oh my gosh.
I'm the one that gave the death notification to my father-in-law.
You got a lot of heavy.
I'm glad I was able to give it to my son. I'm glad it was me giving it to him and not a stranger. And I'm grateful that he was working at the time, so he didn't have any phone access. So the Red Cross got a hold of him. But
what helped you get through this, you personally? Or what's helping you get through it?
What helped you get through this?
I don't know. Because if I lay down, I'm not getting back up. So I got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Have you wanted to quit?
I haven't wanted to quit. I can't quit. My kid can't lose both of us. Like I went to say before, like they asked me the scariest part of that night, and it wasn't dying after the possibility that happened because he was missing with a gun. It was who's going to give my son the death notification that his father and his mother were gone, and that sits in my head. That is the scariest part of that night for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like how, like who would tell him that?
Mm-hmm. Have you gotten to a point of forgiveness for your husband?
I have forgiveness because he was sick. He was sick. He was sick and nobody could see it. And he was sick. I can't stay angry any longer because that's no way to live. I have moments where I'm like, what? Can't stay angry. What the heck? Like really? Like, but I just keep marching on. What the heck? Like really? Like
Do you have any higher power or anything like that? You don't have to get too detailed into it, whatever. Is that a struggle for you right now because of that?
it is a struggle.
Because I hear a lot of people, and what I'm asking, or maybe direct, because you can handle direct, right?
Oh, totally.
So, God, obviously, to me, is important. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be for you, but when you go through that experience, you got to be questioning all these things, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and it's funny because we are getting little signs.
Are you okay with this conversation?
I'm totally fine with this conversation. I flew out to Georgia 2 weeks ago. My son's being stationed in Virginia, and they gave us the room key, and it was 605. It was my husband's badge number. And I go out to the car, and I'm like, he goes, what room are we in? I said, 605. And he looked at me and goes, what? And it's like he was on that trip with us, It's been some weird things like that have happened. But.
So the signs are coming.
He's here. Yeah. I did go to a medium. I tried you try to wrap your head around suicide and look for answers anywhere. So I did. I went to a medium, and she spoke directly to me, and I felt good leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's real, but it felt good at the moment.
Well, for me, I know mine was different, right? Like where I go to, and
yeah.
So we all have our places we have to go to, and that's part of your journey, right? To respect that process, and so but you're doing the work, and I can tell, and I just I want to say compliment you as a widow, as a mom, as a grandma.
Oh, I know.
Grandma.
Yeah.
So.
In 9 months, 4 days.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so there's another sign of if he never came home, your granddaughter would have never been. Right.
She wouldn't be here.
And so those are the miracles that take place in the tragedy.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And so Rachel, you have an incredibly hard story to share. You've been on local news in Rhode Island. I think you said a 3-part series. You've done this now interview. You got other things that you're going to be doing, and you're working towards sharing your story with the world so you can help people.
Yes.
Right. And so, what would you like other people to get for a message from this? And you can curtail it to law enforcement in any way you want. But what's the message you want to share about like this experience that maybe can give some hope to somebody or some help to somebody?
I think we just we got to lower the stigma for men to get help. We need to make it okay for men to speak out. With my son in the Marine Corps, he needs to be able to talk if stuff's not right and let it out and not hold it in, because stuff processes in your head. You're not allowed to have feelings as a man. You're not allowed to struggle. You just got to get up, go to work, and bury it all and bury it all and bury it all. And we got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of it.
So the stigma is real, and
it's real.
Yeah, and part of you said something earlier is like working with the academy level.
I would love to do that.
That is really where it needs to start. It needs to be rooted into the platform that begins the training and the moms and the dads, because this is a family affair.
Oh, totally.
And if anyone doesn't understand this about the police or law enforcement industry, it is a family that's affected not only by this tragedy you went through, but even the ups and downs or worrying about a husband or wife who's out there when there's an active shooter, for example. These are so much stresses that the family goes through.
Yeah.
And so this is probably the most harsh reality is that it's dangerous and it's also a challenge to mental health.
Oh, definitely.
And so you probably say that mental health you highlighted and addiction, not you call it addiction, but alcohol abuse really at the time.
Yep.
There's real issues at the time.
Yeah.
And those things were untreated. And I'm not here to kick the door in on the agency that he was working for. Did you ever have a conversation of why signs weren't, why things weren't picked up?
It was never talked about.
Yeah.
It was never talked about.
Do you think that's something you need to do someday?
Definitely.
And do you think they know that you really want to have that conversation?
I'm sure. I'm pretty loud. Like when I went on the news last year, they had no warning. The crews just showed up at the parking lot, and Rachel did what Rachel had to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be talked out of it. I don't want to be, not necessarily bullied, but I don't want to be told to be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's back to the stigma, right, Tyler? I mean, the be quiet, that's to suck it up, buttercup, kind of thing. And it sounds sick and silly to say that, but it's like, the relationship between the families who are law enforcement families. There's a lot of secrets that are kept in law enforcement families.
I have secrets. I have secrets for days.
Yeah.
Secrets. I'm a mafia wife almost. Like,
Yeah,
I felt like I was part of the mafia. I really
Rhode Island, so it makes sense, right? Or Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's part of the mafia world. But it is almost mob mentality.
It is.
Yeah, what happens here doesn't get talked.
Oh yeah, like early on, like when I had issues, I'd call his guys to come help me out. Like, and it got to the point where all the guys retired. He was one of the older guys in the department. I didn't have anybody else to call anymore to help me.
Dinosaur. And
he was a dinosaur out in the TikTok world of cops now that video themselves and don't really do I don't want to put it down, but it's a little different. It's different now.
You definitely you involved your husband during probably the biggest changes in law enforcement.
Oh, definitely.
From when he started to when he ended. Of course, it was after George Floyd.
That's when everything changed.
Right.
That's when everything changed.
And I'm actually, it's so crazy. I was able to, God just so amazing. I was able to meet George Floyd's uncle, Selwyn Jones, and I had a conversation with him. I often do. And, the conversation was a lot about attacking, and not attacking, but pointing fingers at the situation. And I often think that, we can learn from both sides on those conversations. And I don't know the stress that your husband went through on the job every day, but it sounds like at home, that's what you got. You got the stress. He dumped on you.
Oh, yeah.
How much of that came from that George Floyd time? Did you see a big change during that?
Oh, a big change. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see, George, I'm not, by the way, I think the cop involved in that was guilty or something. I say that publicly, and a lot of my cop friends want to whatever. I'm not trying to get into debates here because we're keeping it on positive. But I do think that, somewhat of the law enforcement, we as law enforcement, I say we have responsibility to also reach out across that room. Sometimes the criminal with handcuffing could be your friend tomorrow. You never, that person, we should be praying for hope, right?
Well, during that George Floyd thing, my social media, I had to block people because I was getting death threats and attacking my family because of it. It was crazy. It was oh yeah.
We're gonna have you back on.
Okay.
Okay. We'll have you come back on again.
Okay.
And we'll do an update after you go to the PTSD training. and maybe even a call-in, maybe do something like that. But we want to help people locally. This is WYCH. This is One Table Radio, 1310, and we come to you 12 to 2 each and every Friday. Rachel, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. I know we're abruptly cutting it off. We could talk forever. I apologize to you that we didn't have more time. Where can people find you quickly? Your social media?
My social is RECHAEL.
Not your house, your social media. Yeah.
It's Rachel Anna. It's on my Facebook. I have a good following.
Yeah, so it's a good following. If somebody's out there and they want to learn more, maybe they want to send a message to you about, we heard you on the show, anything like that. Tyler, thank you so much. Good job.
Appreciate you. And
We got 40 seconds left, and we're going to be cut off. Let's talk for 40 seconds, Tyler. What do you got to say?
not much. Just go
Hard show.
out the Rock the Docks. Angela's having the Rock the Docks acoustic tonight. Here it is, acoustic. JC Revival. 6 to 8 p.m. Town Green. Go see Angela and JC Revival.
There it is. Thanks so much. We'll be back next week with another show. I don't know who's going to be on yet, but we'll have some other guests and callers and things like that. Thank you for the callers that did call in today. Thank you for the guests, Angela. Thank you, Rachel, for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to keep you in my thoughts and prayers. And
Yeah.
we're going to make sure that you make it and your family gets to enjoy your granddaughter and the future grandchildren that you're going to have.
But we got cut off.
Personality Radio 1310.